Hey all, Wes Blankenship here with DawgsHQ. Today we will take a look at the 5 most significant plays of the Georgia football season. Now, these aren't necessarily the splashiest or the most impressive plays. In some cases, yes, those adjectives apply. But in others, these plays either set the tone for an individual or for the entire team. Before I jump into it, hit like and subscribe on the DawgsHQ YouTube channel. We are a startup, and the Dogs are 2 for 2 in national championship games since we launched. Are we part of Georgia's success? Can't rule it out. Hit like, hit subscribe. Be a part of it. All right, number 5 on the list for Georgia's most significant plays of the 2022 season. Let's start with the specialist, the Aussie, Brett Thorson against Tennessee. Thorson sky kicked it, corner kicked it, whatever kind of kick it was. A coffin kick maybe. He kicked the stuffing out of the football and perfectly. I mean, got the bounce of a lifetime. One blade of Dooley field grass difference, and it could have rolled into the end zone for a touchback. Instead, Thorson forced Tennessee to start its drive on the Dogs' 1-yard line. Georgia should have gotten a safety, but the officials wanted to make it a little more interesting. Dogs won the field position battle with that play and with the defensive stand, and Stetson Bennett went right to Ladd McConkey for a Dogs touchdown right after that in a 27-13 win over then number 1 Tennessee. The Dogs have been number 1 ever since. Number 4 from the cocktail party, Georgia tight end Brock Bowers made a catch seemingly on the moon. There was just a little less gravity in Jacksonville on this play. Florida linebacker Amari Burney could only exist as the Stetson Bennett pass bounced off his helmet, and Bowers turned perfectly while the ball was in the air and got a tremendous bounce before he snagged it out of the air and did the rest. The touchdown covered 73 yards. And I know Bowers made better plays this season in the context of individual games. His balancing act in the Peach Bowl against Ohio State comes to mind, of course. But this play showed me that in the context of this season, Georgia might just have old lady luck on its side with some fluky, weird plays. Look, that's not to say Georgia wasn't good or elite. You got to be in the right place at the right time for these things. But think about Smile Munden's interception off of a LSU player's helmet. The Dogs got some good bounces this year. It's a strangely shaped ball, and it doesn't always work out that way. But Georgia had it happen more than once this season. Number 3 from that SEC championship game, Nazir Stackhouse blocked the Bayou Bengals field goal early in the game, and that was great. But Georgia does that at least a couple times each season, it seems like. It's what happened next that made this one significant for me. Chris Smith waited and waited and waited for a signal from the Georgia sideline. He needed a green light to pick up the ball and go. While Smith deliberated, some of his teammates celebrated the block, and LSU left the field. Then Smith left them all in his dust. Did Georgia need that play to win in a 50-30 ball game that wasn't ever really that close? Maybe not, but it was significant to me because it showed me just how prepared Georgia is under Kirby Smart compared to everyone else. Brian Kelly admitted after the game that he didn't have his players ready for that. Smith and Smart revealed that they practice that situation often. And the rule when it comes to a ball rolling and sitting on the turf after a blocked field goal is that you have to score a touchdown if you pick it up. Well, Chris Smith adhered to the rules. He took it to the house. Georgia scored a touchdown, and they won the game. That's the kind of prep that won Georgia back-to-back national championships. How about number 2? The Midnight Miracle against Ohio State in the Peach Bowl. Y'all might have this as your number 1. You'll find out what my number 1 is here in a moment. But I said this list is the 5 most significant plays, not drives. So I can't just do the whole Midnight Miracle blocked field goal sequence. I'll pick the one play that mattered the most. Stetson Bennett found his old faithful target, A.D. Mitchell, in the back corner of the end zone for the Dogs' game winner before Ohio State kicker Noah Ruggles missed what would have been the game-winning kick. This was Mitchell's 3rd touchdown reception in as many college football playoff games. He added a 4th against TCU in the national championship game with a sick one-handed grab. This catch was massive for Mitchell, though. Remember, I said the significant plays for players and for the team, but it was huge for Mitchell. He didn't play much in the regular season, had an ankle injury that he was battling off and on, and couldn't really stay on the field or stay healthy. But when Georgia needed Mitchell to run a clutch route and make a clutch catch, Stetson Bennett made a clutch throw, Mitchell made the grab. That wasn't a gimme. That was a big moment. And he showed some calm, cool, collected ability by bringing that ball down. Georgia completed the comeback, much like they did against Bama when Mitchell made the go-ahead touchdown catch in Indianapolis last season. All right, the number one most significant play of the 2022 season for me came in Columbia, Missouri. Mizzou had Georgia on the ropes. The Tigers led 13-3 with 5.5 minutes left in the first half. Then Mizzou's Cody Schrader took off right through the heart of Georgia's defense. Schrader shredded the Dogs, say that 5 times fast, for 63 yards. He probably should have scored. But true freshman Malachi Starks isn't big on hypotheticals. The Jefferson Dragon matched Schrader step for step and tackled him at the 1. Now, Missouri could have taken a 23 lead into the halftime break, but the Tigers had a penalty in the red zone. It backed them up, and Georgia held Mizzou to a field goal and a 16-3 lead. Georgia had to battle back from that point on, but the Dogs did it, and they won in their most dangerous test of the season. Now, without that tackle, is this Georgia team able to overcome a 17-point deficit? I don't know. I'm not big on hypotheticals either. But the Dogs won the game 26-22. If Starks doesn't get the stop and Georgia loses the game, then the SEC race, Georgia's playoff destination, may look a little bit different if they even make the playoff at all. Georgia players pointed to that Mizzou victory after their comeback win against Ohio State. Not only did it matter in the SEC East Division standings, maybe Georgia still beats Tennessee and Tennessee still loses to South Carolina, and Georgia's loss to Mizzou is just one setback on their path to an SEC championship appearance, and not much changes. But the Dogs believed because of that game that they could do whatever it takes to win from that point on. They did it against Ohio State, down 14 points in the fourth quarter, and pulled off the largest fourth quarter comeback in the history of the college football playoff. A freshman's hustle, you could argue, made that belief possible. That play at Mizzou sparked Georgia's identity for the 2022 season. Which plays did I miss? I had 5 here. There are a lot of good candidates. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think were some of Georgia's most significant plays of the 2022 back-to-back national championship season.